Okay, so we are back with another episode, and I know if some of the stories seem like old news, it is because my shows are pre-recorded. I had to record a bunch of shows because of my microphone situation. I need to wait till Friday for the microphone to get everything working correctly, and I didn't want to not have shows recorded and be out for a week and have no new shows, and then people go, oh fuck it, and they stop listening, or think I'm not recording anymore, and then I basically have to start over from scratch trying to get my viewers back. So what I do is I record multiple shows. Sometimes I do 2 shows in one night, and then I'll do 2 shows in one night the next day, and then 1 show the next day, and whatever. So I keep having product coming out every day. And if I decide one day I want to take a break and I don't want to record anything, it doesn't matter because I have a show that's already coming out. So, this is going to be the 3rd season. I finished my 2nd season. I do 12 episodes a season. So, if you want to catch up, you can check it out on Spotify and listen to all my other seasons. This season is going to be a little bit of everything. It's going to be political. I'm still going to talk about politics because that's my main reason for doing the show. But I'm also going to talk about other things like, addiction and relationships and money and, um, you know, marriages and just everything. There's going to be a little bit of everything. And I've also gotten some messages about people wanting to co-host with me, so I got to go through all of that and basically vet whoever wants to come on the show. Now for my addiction show, I did find somebody that said they would come on the show with me, but I got to make sure it's definite because sometimes they're a little flip-floppy. But I did talk to them physically today, and he said, yeah, he would definitely do it. And he did send me his email so I can send him the link to be on the show with me. So I just got to talk to him about the time that we're going to do it. And who knows, maybe he decides that he wants to stick around and be a co-host. He is a fan of the show. He does watch the show, so he likes what I've done so far. So maybe I can get him to be on the show. That would be great because I've known him since I was like 13 years old. So, it would be a good time, and it would be nice to have somebody else on the show with me. But not that I need anybody. I can carry the show on my own as well. So, all right. So we're going to start with our normal Bible verse. And I thought this was a good verse for what we're going to talk about today because it's a little depressing. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. In vain you rise early and stay up late, trolling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves. Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from him. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior are children born in one's youth. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them. They will not be put to shame when they contend with their opponents in court. Now, why that's a good one, it talks about children. I could also have used that verse for, my abortion segment, but I'm sure that won't be the last time I talk about abortion because these crazy ass liberals have the most ridiculous shit to say, and I'm sure they'll find some new thing to talk about with that. Just like they're allowing in New Jersey you to have an abortion at 36 weeks, which is absolutely insane because you're literally killing a fucking actual baby. Like, it is a full on baby at that point, and they're going to say you can kill it. You should go to jail for murder for that. I'm sorry. 36 weeks. I mean, you get an abortion at 6 weeks, 7 weeks, okay. But fucking damn, you're about to give birth and you get an abortion? Well, first of all, why would you wait that long? And second of all, that is fucking disgusting. You are a gross human being and you deserve to go to fucking jail for the rest of your fucking life. Like, that is just gross. Like, why would you want to carry a baby that long? You'll feel it kick and move and all that stuff, and then just go, oh, I don't want it, let's have an abortion, when you should be giving birth to it. It's fucking gross, but that's not what our show is about today. Our show today is about a mass school shooting. Another one. Yes, I said it. Another one. It happened on December 13th at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, during the second day of their final exam week for the fall semester. 2 students were killed and 9 others were wounded as the intended review session for preparing for these final exams. So I have a few things to read. I just got to pick which one I'm going to read first. Okay, so there was also a girl who lived through 2 school shootings. I believe I do have video of her. Breaking news. Let me see. No, I don't. I thought I did. I don't have a video of her, but I'll get into it. At Brown University, graduate student who has now lived through 2 campus shootings says she's in disbelief after the person of interest initially detained in Sunday night's shooting was released less than a day later. So there was a guy that they arrested and thought did the shootings, but it turned out he was not the guy, and they ended up having to let him go. The student who asked to remain anonymous is a second-year biotech master's student. She told Fox News Digital she was at her off campus home in Fox Point when gunfire broke out. The moment triggered memories from the 2023 shooting at the University of North Carolina, where she spent 8 hours locked in a lab while a professor was killed in a nearby building. She says, I was in lab. I was locked in a lab for 8 hours. It was very similar to this in the sense that not a lot of students knew what was going on. Everyone was feeding each other misinformation because everyone was scared. Everyone was just so scared when they hear stuff. Um, she stressed that the two shootings were very different, noting the Brown incident involved multiple victims, a mass casualty in her words. But the emotional experience, she said, was still equally as scary. Speaking about the Brown shooting, the student said her colleagues initially breathed a sigh of relief when police announced they had taken a suspect into custody. But when authorities later released that same individual, panic spread across the campus. It was really, really scary, she told Fox News Digital. Most of my friends had already left. My parents called saying they were driving up from Georgia to get me. The reversal left students feeling exposed and unprotected. It's really messed up. And where is our money going if we can't catch the guy? She clarified she was referring to taxpayer dollars, not her Brown tuition. She praised Brown University, calling it an amazing institution with extensive camera coverage. Her frustration lies with the process that allowed the detained suspect to walk free so quickly. I'm more upset about finding someone and then releasing them a day later, she said. It just messes with a lot of students, especially the ones who are still here. The shooting at Brown resulted in multiple victims and sent campus community in lockdown as police launched a manhunt for the gunman. Authorities have not announced any new arrests. Um, the graduate student said that while the shootings were different in scale and circumstance, both left students facing the same fog of fear, confusion, and misinformation. No one knew what was real. That's exactly what happened at University in North Carolina, too. Despite fears, she said she has seen Brown students support each other in the aftermath, just like UNC students did following their campus shooting. It's nice to see the community band together, but for many students, including her friends, the fear has not subsided. They have already packed up and left. People don't feel safe anymore. Now, I get, you know, you being upset that the person they caught wasn't the person that did it. You wanted the person to get caught immediately and they weren't, and you kind of got your hopes up. And I understand that. But you can't be mad at law enforcement for releasing the guy a day later, because the reason why they released him a day later was because there was no evidence and he probably had an alibi. Um, he probably was just someone that looked suspicious or looked similar to the guy that they were looking for. And, maybe he didn't even own any guns at all and things like that. I'm sure they did a proper investigation and that is why they let him go. They would not have let him go if they had reservations about him. But at the same time, when they get a person of interest but they don't have the evidence against that person, they have to let them go until they have sufficient evidence to arrest that person again. Because you cannot just arrest somebody because they look funny and you don't like them. You have to have evidence. So he could indeed fact be the shooter, but they had to let him go on the basis that they didn't have enough evidence to prove that he was the shooter. And I'm not knocking this girl or any of these students and how they feel. by any means, but I'm just telling you how investigations work. Just because you like somebody for the crime does not mean you can violate their rights and keep them when you have no evidence. Now, think about it this way: if they decided to arrest this guy and blame this guy for everything they did, and he wasn't the shooter, the real shooter is out there walking around amongst you, and you have no idea, and this person's getting blamed for doing all of it and could go to jail, and then the real shooter got away with it, or the person's found not guilty in the court of law and he gets out, and you're back to square one, and the whole time the real shooter is getting away with it, and by that point got rid of all the evidence that could be used against him, and so on and so forth, and will never get charged. So you got to think about it that way too. They have to do a proper investigation and make sure that the person they get, they can keep them behind bars to keep the community safe. So that's just one of the things going on. Now, I'm going to hold on. Let me see something. Okay, because there were 9 injured students, but for some reason, I can't get all of their names. I only was able to get one of the students' names. I do have the students' names that were killed, but the 9 wounded, I only have one name, and I do believe there is another wounded person, but they are in critical condition right now. The one wounded student, her name is Kendall Turner. She was a junior. She was seriously wounded. Oh, she's the one that's in critical condition. Okay. And reported to be in critical but stable condition, as reports a day after the shooting. She is an alumni of Durham Academy in North Carolina, which released a statement about her condition. The names of the other 8 wounded have not been publicly released by authorities or news outlets. One student was treated for shrapnel, or however you say it, injury, and released from the hospital shortly after the incident, while 7 others remain hospitalized in varying conditions, some critical, as of Sunday, December 14th, 2025. So when we know, when we get the names of the other students, we will come back to that, because I will recover the story again, because I'm pretty sure they will catch this guy. So once they do, I'm sure they'll release the names of the other wounded, and I'll be able to speak on that, and then I will speak on the defendant once they catch them. Another student, Mia Tretta, if I said that right, a junior who had previously survived the 2019 Secaucus High school shooting, was on campus during the incident and spoke to the media about her experience, though she was not physically wounded in the Brown shooting. So there is that. I do have audio of two students who were there. I am gonna play that for you. And right now we're gonna talk about the killings. Um, the one girl that died, her name was Ella Cook, and it says she was a standout student, remembered as a bright light and aspiring to be a neurosurgeon. She was described as gifted, young scholar. Were the two victims killed in the shooting at Brown University, tributes began pouring in for Ella Cook, a second year student and the vice president of the school's Republican student organization. And Muhammad Aziz, I don't know how to say his name, a first year student, during a candlelight vigil held in their honor on Sunday. A gunman burst into campus in Providence, Rhode Island on Saturday and injured 9 students while killing 2 who have now been identified. And here's what we know about the victims. Ella Cook was 19. She was an accomplished pianist, standout student who spent summers as an employee at a local ice cream shop. She was attending a review session for her upcoming exam, an introductory economics class, when a masked gunman entered the classroom and opened fire. Martin Berteo, president of the College Republicans of America, said in a statement, after her death, the group was devastated to learn of the loss of Miss Cook. She was the vice president of the school's Republican student organization. Ella was also known for her bold, brave, kind heart as she served her chapter and fellow classmates. The Cathedral Church of Advent, located in Birmingham, Alabama, near Miss Cook's hometown, held a vigil in her honor Sunday. She was incredible, grounded, faithful, and a bright light, according to NBC News. Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville said he was heartbroken over her death. In a tribute to Miss Cook's post on X, our heart and prayers are with the Cook family and everyone impacted by this senseless killing. The White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said on X about Miss Cook, there are no words, thinking of her family and friends, especially her parents. God bless them. Now, I don't want to jump to conclusions on who did this shooting, but knowing that she was a Republican and she was killed, kind of puts me on alert as to why this particular person was attacked at at all. I mean, she was in a group, in a class, and she was the one who was killed. And I'm not saying that that he horned in on her, but I'm saying in general the fact that she was a Republican thing, that it's just such a coincidence that she would be shot at, and that this classroom where they were doing this Republican thing, they were all shot at. I mean, now I'm not saying that it was a crazy liberal, but most of the time it is. Now, it could also be some fucking loser that nobody talked to in school, and he was a big fucking loner, kept to himself, and probably wrote in fucking journals how he hates life and whatever. And he was probably on all kinds of fucking antipsychotic medications and fucking, whatever, and lost his fucking marbles and decided he was gonna go shoot up a fucking school. What bothers me is that you have to see a change in these people before they do something like this. Like, they're not normal people. All these school shooters all had red flag after red flag after red flag before they shot up a fucking school, and nobody does anything about it. And I'm sure this motherfucker has a social media, and I'm sure that he has shared that he wanted to do harm to people or whatever the fucking case. It's ridiculous. We just had the fucking Catholic school shooting, and that was a fucking transgender fucking person. I mean, it it just tracks. I'm not saying that I know for a fact it was a liberal or a trans person or anything like that, but there is a fucking pattern to this shit. It's either some depressed fucking kid that nobody talked to in school, and he felt like, he was worthless or whatever, suffers from depression and is on all kinds of medications that he doesn't need to fucking be on, that have warning labels on the side of the bottles saying you could be suicidal and homicidal and all this shit from taking these medications, and doctors are just writing them out like candy, and they go nuts and shoot up a school. Now, I could be wrong altogether, and this could just be some asshole that was like, yeah, I want to go shoot up a school today. Fuck it. And he didn't care, and he shot up the school and is a completely normal person and just doesn't give a fuck that he did it. That could be it too. We could speculate all day about it, but there's usually a fucking pattern to this. And I don't understand why our schools have to be shot the fuck up. And then everybody wants to go, oh, gun control and this and that. No, you know what? We'll get more into that in a minute. Let me finish with this because it gets me pissed off. I mean, it really fucking does. I have a kid that goes to school, and we have an off duty police officer that is at the school 24/7. There's security at the school. You can't get into the school unless you ring the buzzer and say what you're there for, and the door opens. But it's still not good enough because the fucking cop that they have at the school, he's fucking fat and retired and wouldn't be able to catch anybody that runs away. He would be winded within 5 minutes. No, I want a physically fit officer at my kid's school, and I want security with guns. I want the cop with the guns. I want guns at the school. Why don't they protect the schools like they protect fucking banks? Where you have tons of security and they're walking around with guns on their hips. And friggin' they have little buttons that they press under the table to sound an alarm that goes straight to the police station so the cops can get there and do what they got to do. They need to protect our churches the same way because they get shot up too. Why don't they get off duty fucking military men and women who can't get jobs and having a rough time, and offer them positions to protect the schools? Why don't they do that? Okay. Now I can't say this kid's name. I'm sorry. Um I'm just gonna skip his name. It's Zakov or something. Was remembered as a gifted student and promising scholar, widely considered a prerequisite for students who wish to attend an Ivy League institution like Brown. Speaking to the Washington Post, his sister said the young man took every advanced placement class he could while in high school and worked over the summer at a local convenience store to buy himself a laptop. It just seems so unfair because he tried so hard and he went through so much just to wind up like this. According to multiple reports, he received a scholarship to attend Brown, where he was studying to become a neurosurgeon. The aspiration was inspired by his own health challenges as a child. His sister said after he had a brain surgery that took him years to fully recover from, he was funny, kind, smart, said his family, and they created a GoFundMe for him. So if you want to check that out, you can. He had big dreams of becoming a neurosurgeon and helping people. He continues to be my family's biggest role model in all aspects. Um, he carried himself with humility and compassion, earning the respect and affection of all those around him. He had a future filled with promise, and his life was cut short far too soon. So we have that. Now this is talking about the man who they thought did the shooting. So it says police officers were going door to door on Monday seeking footage from home surveillance cameras as investigation renewed a manhunt for the gunman who killed 2 students and injuring 7 more in a classroom at Brown University. The search for the suspect, which included post-new video footage of the possible shooter, resumed after authorities released a man they had detained over the weekend as a person of interest. The news that the gunman remained at large put Providence back on edge, though officials said there were no credible threats to the community and that they would not reimpose a shelter-in-place order for the campus and surrounding area that had been lifted earlier. People are very confused and nervous, a real estate agent said. We are staying indoors. We all have been glued to the TV, and it looks like the manhunt is now back on. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, my TV was on. I can't wait to get my podcast den set up where I'm in a room with no TV and I just have all my podcast stuff. And no kids that barge in while I'm doing my thing. Okay, anyway, I've been glued to the TV and it looks like the manhunt is now back on. Providence Police Chief Oscar Perez told reporters at an evening press conference that law enforcement was trying to reassure residents by keeping a visibility high profile in the community. Perez played 3 short video clips from home surveillance footage of the suspect, a man of stocky build, dressed in a dark jacket, hat, and face mask, walking through the college neighborhood near campus about 2 hours before the shooting. One showed him pacing along a white picket fence, another crossing a street corner, and another walking past the gated home. 2 still photos of him walking on a sidewalk were also shown, but the man's face was obscured by the mask he wore. The sooner we can identify this person, the sooner we can blow this case open. An FBI special agent in charge from Boston, Ted Dock, said $50,000 reward was being offered for the information leading to the identification and arrest and conviction of the suspect, who he said was presumed to be armed and dangerous. Perez said the murder weapon was a 9mm gun from which several rounds were fired. Now that's odd. Usually it's like assault weapons and things like that. He went in and just shot people with a 9 millimeter gun. That's that's strange. I mean, a gun is a gun. It's gonna kill you, either way. But you know, most school shooters use heavy artillery. I mean, they come with multiple guns, and like a 9 millimeter would be used after they like ran out of you know bullets from all the other fucking weapons that they were using, and they would use that last or use that to kill themselves. This is the first time I've ever heard of a gunman going into a school and shooting people up with a 9 millimeter gun. It's odd, very odd. The neighborhood was eerily quiet on Monday. Several residents told uh, Rutgers, as most people were staying behind locked doors, officers were knocking on doors asking whether anyone had seen anything or had any cameras that might have caught a glimpse of the suspect. While police helicopters whirled overhead, one family left to stay with friends in another town, while a first floor tenant was so frightened that she asked her landlord to let her spend time on the second floor. The neighbor said Providence Mayor Brett Smiley's home was less than a block from the site of the shooting, served as ground zero for officials to gather over the weekend. And they have pictures of the shooter, or who they believe to be of the shooter, on here. You can't really see much. Um, he is definitely pretty pudgy. He has a gut on him. He's not a skinny dude. He is wearing a mask and a beanie, and he's in a blue jacket that's like gray in the middle. Um, do they have any more pictures? That's just pictures of the cops all around. See, this is why I need a producer so that I can have somebody pull this stuff up. Um, I did find something about getting a producer for my show. Um, it will cost money. I just have to see how much it would cost um to have a producer do stuff for the show. Um he wouldn't get paid by me. I would have to pay the site for it. Um Obviously a producer in my show wouldn't get paid until my show started to make money. So, but we'll see. So anyway, the gunman fled after opening fire Saturday in a classroom in Brown's Bar's Holy Engineering and Physics building, where outer doors had been left unlocked while exams were taking place, according to police. Now that's the other thing. Why the fuck are you leaving doors unlocked in schools? Especially after everything that goes on with school shootings, because all these shooters always get into these schools because there's a door that's unlocked. Why are any doors unlocked, especially now? I get, back in the day before there was school shootings, you'd leave a door unlocked, but that was when America was safer and there wasn't school shootings every other fucking day. Now that there's school shootings every other fucking day, you would think every fucking door in the school would be locked or have a lock, where you open the door from the inside and that's the only way you could get in. And once that door's closed, nobody can access that exit or entrance because it's locked. That's how the doors should be at all the fucking schools around. Okay, there should be no way that some rando fucking psychopath should be able to walk through a door and then just open fire on a bunch of fucking innocent students. Makes no fucking sense to me. And obviously, and I'm not even saying this is speculation or allegedly at this point, but obviously this person has been at this school or has gone to this school or had some affiliation to this school to know what door would be unlocked so that he could go in and open fire. Because if you've never been to the school before, you wouldn't know what door to go through. You'd be checking every single fucking door, and surveillance cameras would probably see you doing that, and somebody at the school would come out and say, "What the fuck are you doing? Are you trying to get in? Like, what are you doing?" But no, he knew exactly what door was unlocked to walk in and open fire on these students. That just blows my fucking mind. After everything that has happened over the course of 20 years, you leave your fucking doors unlocked at a fucking school. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Lives could have been saved if that door was fucking locked. Like most of the school shootings could have been prevented if the fucking doors were locked or if there was security walking the premises with a gun. I don't understand why we're so lax when it comes to protecting our children, but yet you can't go to an airport and get through security with a fucking pocket knife, but you can fucking walk into a school in America and doors are just wide open and nobody has weapons for self defense. And these people just walk in and start blasting motherfuckers. I do not understand it at all. It makes no fucking sense and it actually makes me fucking angry, especially when I have daughters of my own. Granted, my one daughter's not in school yet, but she will be. And my other daughter is in fucking school. And I worry about that shit every fucking day. And yes, she goes to school with the fucking cell phone. And yes, she is to call me when some shit is going fucking down. Students spent hours barricaded in classrooms or hiding underneath furniture as officers fanned out across the campus searching for the attacker. Officials said late on Sunday there had been enough evidence to justify taking into custody the unarmed person of interest, a man in his 20s. The announcement of the detainment early on Sunday provided what turned out to be a short lived measure of relief for students and city residents. Um, Investigators determined there was no bias to believe he was a person of interest, so he's being released. On Monday, the Attorney General said the individual has been cleared. The investigation has now gone in a different direction. Brown is one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in the United States, with which has nearly 11,000 undergrad and graduate students. Canceled exams and classes for the rest of the year. Um, and then it talks about the students that were killed and so on and so forth. Um, oh God, the sun is like so blowing out the thing. Okay, so I have um some video clips to show. Um, one is the students in the school. I'm gonna try and show it on here if you can see.
Police! Providence police! Hands! Providence police! Everybody's hands! Hands! Everybody get your hands! Hands! hands. Just keep your hands up for us. Obviously, there's something going on. We're here to help you. Just listen to what we have to say, okay? All right, breathe. Anybody hurt? No? All right, just listen to our commands. We will get you out of here safely. Is this it? Is this the group?
If you have your bags, your phones, we'll grab it now. Quickly,
Go, quick, go.
get orderly, fast. Let's go.
Well, let's go.
Good job.
Move the sign. Grab your stuff. Hurry up.
That was them being saved by the police officers after they secured the school. And then I have Tim Pool saying some things, and I like him. I agree with most of the things he says. So here's what he had to say.
Though, because typically in most of these circumstances, the shooter is captured almost immediately, or they take their own life. This looks like a targeted attack. Now, the question is, what is that something unique that was yelled? Something unique was yelled? Is a person who's perhaps yelling something unique at the students whom they knew, and this was a targeted murder? Or is it what everyone's already thinking, the person yelled Allahu Akbar, or something like that? So apparently, it focused on the intersection of economics and Jewish studies. And I think I actually have, we have this from Jack. Ella Cook, say her name, we lost a good one. This is one of the individuals who was murdered. And my understanding is that she was part of she was a college young Republican. She was some kind of political leader. And here we are, my friends. Here we are now, not knowing what is going on with this case. It's almost like they don't actually want to figure it out. CNN said, Brown shooter is likely watching coverage obsessively. The shooter responsible for the attack on Brown University on Saturday is likely watching news coverage of the attack obsessively, and any family members should take notice. Behavioral analyst Casey Jordan told CNN's John Berman on Tuesday, he is watching the coverage every single day, which is why it's important not to say provocative things, not to call him a coward or anything like that. He is.
So you heard him say that supposedly he says Allah Akbar, and like I had pointed out to you that he shot one of the Republican students, and what do you automatically think? These people hate America, and if it is a Muslim who did this, or a liberal who did this, or a trans person who did this, or whoever, it's getting ridiculous now, and it needs to stop. And then it's like, oh, guns are the problem, and da-da-da-da-da. No, guns are not the problem. It's the people using them and obtaining them that's the problem. And I'm sorry, but the guns that are being used to commit these crimes are not registered legal gun owners. These are people who are obtaining guns illegally or taking them from their parents who have guns legally. So they're stealing them, or they're getting them off the street. These are not legal gun owners. So you are saying, oh, we need to get rid of all guns. No, because guess what? If somebody had a gun on your campus and shot that motherfucker before he did anything, you might be alive because of that. If security guards at schools were allowed to carry weapons, or you had military trained men carrying weapons, watching over the school, they wouldn't dare go in there because they know they're going to get fucking shot. But they know they can walk into school and shoot up the fucking school, and it takes 10 minutes for the police to get there. You can do some real fucking damage in 10 minutes with a fucking gun in a school that has no protection. There should be guns at schools protecting these fucking children. And if you don't agree with me, you're a fucking asshole and you don't care about your children or anybody's children for that matter, because that is not up for debate. There is no debating me when it comes to there should be guns at the school. I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry. There is no debate. There is nobody that can tell me, oh no, and give me a valid reason for why guns shouldn't be at the school. Because guns would have saved the lives of these students, of any student, anybody in a school shooting. What they need to do is take retired veterans that have been looking for jobs, that are down on their luck, and say, hey, you want a job? We're going to put all veterans that can't get a job, that are, whatever, we're going to put them at schools and churches and anywhere that's usually targeted by these psycho fucking people, and we're giving them guns, and their job is to secure the perimeter and keep people safe. And if some rando starts walking up on the property and doesn't put their hands up or whatever, boom, they get shot and killed. Stop protecting the fucking criminals. And then you go, oh, this guy had a gun. We need to take guns off the street because he killed us with guns. Okay, you don't think that if we get rid of guns, they're not going to find another way to fucking kill you? All they have to do is go and find out how to make a bomb and blow your fucking school up. Then what are you going to do? They don't sell bombs, but you can make one from household appliances. So what are you going to stop selling Drano and nails and all that stuff? I mean, what the fuck? People get killed by knives all the time. Should we get rid of knives too? It's not the guns, it's the people using the guns. And they're getting guns illegally, or they're taking them from their parents or whoever's in the house that legally own that weapon, and they're using them. And there needs to be protection for kids. If a gunman can walk into school with a fucking gun, then a security guard should be able to have a gun on his hip and pull out that gun and shoot the motherfucker. And the next thing is leaving doors unlocked. Stop leaving your fucking doors unlocked at fucking schools. What the fuck is wrong with you? That's your fault. I would be fuming as a parent if my kid died and I find out the reason they died was because this stupid motherfucker walked into an unlocked door at my kid's school, when her life could be saved if that door was fucking locked. Like, get a fucking grip. Stop doing dumb shit. Every school door should be locked. The only way you should be able to access a door from the school is if it's opened by somebody else, and then you enter the door. And then as soon as that door closes, it automatically locks behind you, and you cannot enter the school unless you go through a buzzer, say who you are, what you're doing there, and everything else. And you are greeted by security, and you have to sign in and whatever. And in certain areas, like in high crime areas, there should be metal detectors. And people have to go through them. I mean, that's what should happen. So, anyway, here's some more news coverage.
An urgent manhunt to find the shooter who killed 2 students at Brown University. Cops just released someone they thought was a person of interest. The entire community around the school in Providence, Rhode Island, living in fear. Anne Mercogliano is there.
The hunt for the Brown University gunman is in chaos today. Authorities had a person of interest when a 24-year-old former U.S. Army sniper was detained at a hotel 20 miles from the Ivy League campus. FBI Director Kash Patel posted this photo of the 4 a.m. raid and said that the big break came from analyzing cell phone data. But less than 24 hours after celebrating the arrest, cops admitted that forensic tests showed that they had made a terrible mistake. They had the wrong guy.
This person's name was leaked to the public. It's hard to put that back in the bottle.
John Miller, CNN's chief law enforcement analyst, revealed there's a turf war between the feds and local Rhode Island cops.
There's some friction between the federal authorities, the FBI, the Providence Police, and some of their partners about who's actually running this thing, who's calling the shots.
Police still believe this 8-second surveillance video shows the gunman, his right hand in his pocket, possibly holding a weapon. And cops released this new surveillance video of the wanted man.
The public wants this case resolved. They want the chief of police and the FBI to come forward and say there's no danger to public safety, that the individual responsible for this, is in handcuffs. However, these cases don't always progress in that manner.
And we're learning more about the hours of terror for the students at the Ivy League campus.
Keep your hands up for us.
Doctoral student Eva Erickson, who was runner-up on last season's Survivor, says she left the building shortly before the shooting.
I am so extremely lucky that I was very unproductive at work today because I left and 20 minutes later, we get the warning.
Incredibly, student Mia Tretta lived through another mass shooting in 2019 when she was in high school.
When I was deciding what school I wanted to go to, a big part of that was where am I going to feel safe?
Tristan Parker helped lead a group of fellow students to safety as gunfire erupted just 100 feet away. He expressed frustration about the bungled arrest.
That's the scary part, is he could be in France or Australia by now, but he could also be right here and no one knows.
An urgent manhunt to find the shooter who killed 2 students at Brown University.
So, that was that. And then I have, 2 students that talk out.
Joseph Aduro was leading a study group when the gunman walked into his lecture hall. He told his story to ABC News Live anchor Whit Johnson. Take a listen.
We heard commotion outside the door of what sounded like students screaming and like the sound of gunshots, but none of our minds, at least my mind, I can't speak for everyone, but that's not the first thing you identify that sound with. We're at Brown University, which is an Ivy League institution. You assume that you're going to be safe. And around 5 seconds or so later, we see a gunman walk in on the left-hand side.
And he just barged into the classroom?
Yeah.
What did he say? What happened next?
I don't know what he said. I know he mumbled something, screamed something. I don't know exactly what was said, but he entered the room and you could just see the panic in all the students' eyes. I was standing in the front, so as soon as he walked in, he immediately saw me and I immediately saw him. And then I look to my right and I see a bunch of students running down the stairs, running out the door, jumping on the ground, just whatever it takes to stay alive.
When you made eye contact with him, what did your mind tell you in terms of what was happening in that moment? Were you able to register what was happening?
I immediately when I saw him, I saw a gun. The gun was so big and long that I genuinely thought, like, okay, this is the end of the road for me.
And the fact that this motherfucker got through an unlocked door and was just walking around the school and picked where he was gonna go to fucking terrorize fucking students blows my fucking mind. Like, nobody stopped him and said, hey, what are you doing? There's not cameras in the school where they didn't see this strange man in the fucking school with a mask on and dark clothes and with a gun in his fucking hand or whatever. Like, what? And then they, like, in the articles, they're like, oh, Brown University did great. No, they fucking didn't. They fucking didn't. They didn't protect anybody. They did not protect anybody. As far as I'm concerned, they're fucking complicit in the shit. You left the fucking door open and nobody paid attention to a strange man walking around fucking campus. And nobody stopped to ask this motherfucker questions. And there's nobody with guns on the school property to protect anybody. No, we have to call the cops and then wait 10 minutes for cops and SWAT and everybody to get in position, and fucking then they got to figure out who they're sending in and all this stuff, all this procedure they have to follow before they actually enter into the fucking school. So it takes fucking, 10, 15, 20 minutes before anybody comes in to rescue anybody. You could murder fucking 35 people by then. Like, what the fuck?
We were hanging out in a classroom studying, and then we just heard like 5 shots ring out, and we didn't really know what it was at first, and then some kids, we like got out of our seats when we heard a stampede run by, and then some kids went to check the hallway and no one was there, so we ran outside, and then a kid who had also checked, he went the other way, he came out, he said he saw someone lying on the floor, so at that point we just looked at each other and just ran as fast as we could.
In that moment where you heard the gunfire, what did you think it was?
I thought we were in an engineering building, so I thought something fell or something. I didn't think it was.
So that was the last interview for that. So my closing talk for this episode would be that we need to protect our students like we protect our money, like we protect the fucking governors and presidents and everything else, because our kids are the future. They are future presidents, they're future governors, senators, they're future policemen, they're future military men, they're future multi-billion-dollar companies, they're a future of inventors, they are future astronauts, and their future is maybe one of them finds the cure for cancer and AIDS and Alzheimer's disease and dementia and all things that are important. That's what our kids are. They should be just as much protected as all those other people are, and they're not. And there is so many different ways to protect these children, and it just never happens. And we're constantly, every day, hearing of another school shooting. Like that Catholic school shooting by that fucking tranny, that didn't even happen that long ago. That was a few months ago. Wasn't a year. I mean, what the fuck? And still, we don't learn. We don't learn. Lock your fucking doors. And the people on school grounds should have guns, so they can shoot and ask questions later. If you're a stranger and you do not identify yourself and you are in a school and you're being told commands, stop, who are you, take your hands out of your pockets, whatever, and you don't do that, you get fucking shot. Done. Done. You don't have to kill them. You could take their legs out, shoot them in the chest, whatever. Because if you're a parent, you would just say, hey, I'm a parent. Or you would go in the school correctly. You wouldn't walk into a side door and just start walking around the school aimlessly. No, when a stranger enters the school and nobody has seen them, when your kid goes to school, your school eventually knows who you are because you're at the school all the time. Like, I go to my daughter's school. Her principal knows who I am. When he sees me, he says hi to me and whatever, and he knows I'm there for Haley. He knows Haley's my daughter. The school, they know you when you drop your kids off there every day and you go to their conferences and, you know, you go to their school functions and things like that. They know and recognize all the parents. They may not know every parent by name or anything like that, but they go, oh, I know who that is. That's this one's mother. But if you walk into a school and the security, they don't know who the fuck, like the security at my daughter's school know who I am. Sometimes I don't even have to ring the buzzer. The guy will just come and open the door for me. Or he'll be like, what are you here for? And I'll be like, Haley Frigg. Oh, okay, walk in. But you got some motherfucker that nobody has ever seen on the fucking school grounds. Shoot first and ask questions later. It's time we start protecting this fucking schools the right way. Stop going, oh, it's guns. Guns are the problem. No, guns will solve the problem if they're in the right hands. The problem is the wrong people get guns and use them for the wrong reasons. If good people and trained people had guns, you could protect from the bad guys. You can protect the students from the bad guys. You can shoot the bad guys. But, you know, I don't know how long it's going to take for people to learn that. And that's one thing about Trump. You know, I love Trump. I'm glad he's president, you know, whatever. But Trump needs to enforce that the school have people there with guns. And he needs to come up with a way that we can protect schools, like money and how the government is protected. And I believe we can do that by giving veterans that can't get jobs and, you know, go to the VA and find able-bodied veterans that can't work, give them a job and say, look, we need you to protect the school. That is your job. You walk the perimeters, you get on the roof, whatever. You could even have snipers at the top of the school that sit there all fucking day and look around the school and have good vantage point. Anybody walking too fucking close and not identifying themselves, boom, you get shot. Simple as that. You could save millions of kids if you just have fucking cops, off-duty cops, military men, security guards, all armed, walking perimeters of the school and making sure doors are locked. It's that fucking simple. It's that simple. You don't need guns if the doors are all locked and nobody can access into a school without being identified first, because there's cameras all around the school and you'd have to be identified in order for the door to open. There should never be an unlocked fucking door at a school. Do they leave unlocked doors open at banks so that robbers can walk through a side door at a bank and rob a vault? Oh, hell no. Like, the fuck? It's fucking disgusting. It's fucking sick. And I will bring you more updates about this school shooting. I will make sure I follow the story closely. I will when the perpetrator is caught, I will announce it on my show. And of course, I will do my research into him. If any other news comes out about the wounded, I will update you on that and tell you who the students were that were wounded, if the critically wounded ended up dying, anything like that. I will let you know at the beginning of a new show. Obviously, the whole show won't be about that, but I will recap and give you a little insight on that. And go about it that way. Or if there is a bunch of information, then I will do another show dedicated to this school shooting. So that is it for today, and I will see you guys tomorrow.